Former royal butler, is that the sort of decorum that you would expect of a gentleman?
Not really. I was a bit shocked, actually, when I saw it, because I think when he said about a reverse and dump truck, well, it's not really something you say to one of your guests at a dinner party. And I think in all my years, I've never seen anything quite like that happen,
But if
thankfully.
you're feeling emotional and it bubbles up and overspills, is that OK? What should you do?
I think if you're in a situation where that happens, rather than let it kind of come out, it's almost kind of keeping it within and carrying on with the evening, no matter how difficult it is, until obviously the guests have gone, and then you can maybe have a little rant to yourself. But it's not really fair on the other guests as well, because you could see the other guests didn't know where to look or what to do.
What do you think, Denise?
Well, he's got to learn to mince his words. What I saw there was revenge. You may have won, but now I'm going to smash your face in. It's that simple. And he was incredibly foolish, because by now we'd all have forgotten that he didn't win. But that, when he dies, somebody will dig that out and put it on the telly. So he's let himself down terribly.
Let's talk to Chanel, because Chanel's on the phone now.
Morning, Chanel.
Hi, Chanel. You've stopped playing competitive games with your boyfriend.
Yes, I have, unfortunately. And the first time we played a game was 2 months into our relationship. It was a card game, and the cards went everywhere as well as the words. So, yeah.
So what about being gracious in defeat during games?
And that's the thing. It was very difficult to stay gracious to each other, but throughout playing games, we've been together a year now, and throughout playing games in our relationship and making it as part of our relationship and accepting each other's defeat, we have become more gracious in ourselves as individuals, and so we've allowed each other to ourselves,
And that's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a positive out of the negative. I think with games, they can end up being a bit confrontational. People want to win, and when you've got two people that both want to win, well, somebody's got to lose. And again, it's always better that somebody actually maybe decides to be the loser.
But that's music to my ears. That's two people managing a relationship very well.
Out.
Top marks.
Well, Denise, see if you can help Lauren then, because Lauren, morning to you. Yours is a different situation, because this involves your husband not letting your 5-year-old win anything.
Yeah, totally. It became a bit of a nightmare. Basically, since she was able to play any sort of games, he's always said, you know, if you're not first, you're last, and that's his motto in life, whether it's with him or his nephews or whatever. But with our 5-year-old, board games, card games, if she's not won legitimately, then she's just not won.
Oh, bless her. If she gives me her address, I'll come round. Because doing that
she regularly beats him at pairs, so that's OK.
Doing that to a 5-year-old is wrong, but equally wrong is letting them win all the time, because that's giving them a false sense of what the world is like. So you've got to have a little talk with them, a little serious ear tweaking, and say, just occasionally, you've got to make sure she knows what it's like to win.
You do see those schools, you read about the schools, that when they have sports day, there are no winners, there are no losers, everybody is a competitor, and that's that. Now, is that a good thing when you don't experience winning or losing? Because later in life, of course, that's not what it's going to be like.
That's something I say when in the etiquette classes we have children, and we say that it's important that they understand that you don't always win, because as kids, again, you're kind of brought up that you should be winning competitions, you know, it's the best one wins. Well, I think it's important that sometimes they do lose, so they understand later on in life that you don't always win.
So how do I cope with this then, Denise? Harry, if we're kicking goals in, and when he kicks a goal in, he'll go 1 to me, 2, 3, and if I kick a goal in, he goes, doesn't count. Doesn't count. And then I'm like, no, it does count, Harry. And then if I keep going with it, I'm not just not funny. He will throw himself on the floor and he'll just go. He'll go. He hates it.
When he's a millionaire, you will be glad you let him get away with that. No, seriously. He is very young, and I would gently explain to him, I like to win sometimes too, darling.
Yeah.
But do I think it's going to ruin his character? No.